Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Welcome to the 81st Bhakti Rahasyam episode, and this is the last Bhakti Rahasyam which Thirukkolur Penpillai spoke to Swami Ramanuja. I'm sure her bag of comparisons to say various devotees' lives or instances or episodes from the Puranas or the scriptures wouldn't be limited to 81. She would have unlimited ideas in her bag, yet she for some reason chose to restrict herself to 81 Bhakti Rahasyams to Swami Ramanuja. Now these comparison statements are nothing unique for us. It comes to us naturally, but from a different perspective. Like, oh, why didn't I get promotion like that person got in my organization? Or why my child is not getting good grades like my neighbor or my friend's child? Or why don't I own a big house or an imported car like that person does? This, why like her, like him, this comes to us naturally in our day-to-day lives. But the perspective with which Thirukkolur Penpillai does her comparisons is totally different. Oh, why I didn't do devotion like that person? Why I am not humble like this person? So you see the positive traits, the positive qualities. So these are the subject matter of Thirukkolur Penpillai's comparisons, which are very different from what we compare or what we benchmark the various elements in our lives. But that doesn't mean that we will not be able to do benchmarking from a spiritual perspective. In fact, since these comparisons, as I said, it comes naturally to us, it just involves changing our perspective a little bit towards the spiritual path. And then we will also be able to do such spiritual comparisons, which will in fact help us to grow in the path of spirituality and lead a holistic life. Now in her Bhakti Rahasyam number 81, she says, did I do all my duties for the Lord's sake, like Villiputtur Bhagavar? Now there was this person from the Brahmin community, Villiputtur Bhagavar, who lived in the holy spiritual land of Tiruvahindrapuram in Tamil Nadu. Now, Bhagavar, in short, he used to do his daily rituals like performing Sandhya Vandanam, that is praying and expressing gratitude to the various elements of nature, reciting the Gayatri mantra and reciting other Vedic mantras, doing sun salutations or Surya Namaskara. So these are some of the daily practices which a person from the Brahmin community follows. Now, these days in the cities, those who are performing these daily worship or daily duties, they do it individually in their houses. But if we go back to the villages or some of the temple towns, it's not uncommon to see people doing these practices daily as a group. Now, the place where Bhagavar was staying, there were also group of Brahmins who used to do their duties along the temple pond. Now, Bhagavar also used to do in the same place, but he used to sit aloof from this group and he used to do his daily duties. Now, it happened for some time And that's when one person from this group asked Bhagavar, why do you sit aloof? You are also doing the same duties, the same Sandhya Vandanam which we are doing. So why can't you come with us and we do this jointly? To which Bhagavar replied, he gave a very important message in his answer. He says, we are the followers of Swami Ramanuja's philosophy. Here also, this episode is also connected to Swami Ramanuja. So, Bhagavar continues that according to Swami Ramanuja, we are taught that all these daily rituals should be performed for the sake of the Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord. And that is what we do. Whereas you as a group, again, he was not criticizing them as a group, he knew about them. That is why he was able to make a bold statement like this, where he says, you do this with a different intent. You do this, A, because your elders have told this, so you are doing this out of compulsion, or you are interested in some materialistic rewards, that is, you want something for yourself. So you pray God as a favor. So you say, oh, I do this ritual, please grant me something in return. So, or it may be for some other selfish interest without the Lord in the focus. So this is what Bhagavar says, that there is a difference in the intent with which we do the same activity and you people do with a different intent. So when the intents are different, even though the activity remains the same, the task, the steps remain the same, we cannot come together and do this activity. Now, it was eye-opening for some people in the group. Some people just brushed it off. But for us, Bhagavar gave a great message of doing whatever we do with the Lord as the central focal point. Don't do activities for the sake of selfish interests, selfish pursuits. If we pray that through a particular activity we do, let the Lord be pleased, then that activity will always be a success. But if we do things for our sake or for some other person's sake, there will always be some shortcomings. The satisfaction which we derive, it won't be to the fullest. So that is the message which Bhagavar is trying to give. And he says that is why even while doing the same set of activities, I am doing this at a different place. Now Thirukkolur Penpillai, she references this particular activity and she is also trying to give this message that did I do all these activities? Did I do all my activities for the Lord's sake? No. I have always been with some selfish interests, with some desires, because of which I have never had the Lord as the focal point in my activities, and that is why precisely I am leaving this divine land of Thirukkolur. Again, this is her humility, because for a person who is so learned, who would have read so much, who would have listened so much, and she got it digested in her to the extent that when Swami Ramanuja came in front of her, she was able to just produce these statements flawlessly, and from the bottom of her heart shows that she definitely was a devoted lady. Yet she goes on saying, oh, I was not like this person, I was not like that person, hence I don't feel that I should be staying in this divine land of Thirukkolur. So she gives Bhagavar as an example of a person who did his duties for the sake of the Lord. That is the Bhakti Rahasyam in short. Very a small Bhakti Rahasyam, but the message which it gives is very immense. If we see, there are people who follow a lot of spiritual activities, even most of us do. It could be, there are multiple activities like visiting temples or reading the scriptures, doing daily rituals like Bhagavar and the group did, chanting the holy names of the Lord, singing bhajans, kirtans, dancing, and what not. But again, there is an important perspective on the intent with which these activities are performed. If someone performs these activities of visiting temples or chanting the holy names or doing the daily worship just for the sake of doing it, or when they do this to garner praises and appreciation from other people, it doesn't make a real difference. In fact, these pure activities are polluted by false pride and ego. It is actually happening in the recent times where people, because of their spiritual acts, it has become a kind of a status symbol. Oh, this person visits so many temples. Oh, this person perfectly does his daily duties without fail. Oh, this person is great in singing bhajans, or they recite the Vedic mantras impeccably. So what happens is, if these praises should not go into the head of the people who are doing it, but it is, if it actually goes into their heads and they keep it as a status for themselves, so I am known because of this particular spiritual activity, then that spiritual activity is of no use in elevating the person in the path of spirituality. So the intent matters, and that's what Thirukkolur Penpillai is referencing. If we don't keep the Lord as the central focal point, there is no meaning to what it is, just another activity which we are doing. But if the Lord is there in the midst of whatever we do, so we are doing this temple visit so that the Lord becomes happy, not with us. He is happy, he is satisfied that, oh, this person has visited a temple. Or if we are chanting the Lord's names, the Lord feels happy. If we are going to tour religious places, the Lord becomes happy. With that intent and not with a selfish pursuit, if we do that activity, we will be able to see that change which comes into us. So there again can be instances where people practice a lot of spiritual activities, yet in their day-to-day dealings, their words, their thoughts, their actions are filled with negativities. They still have greed, they have jealousy, they have enmity, they have hatred and whatnot. A bucket list of negativities. If that is what clouds the heart and the mouth says various mantras, what is the use? Whatever we say, whatever we think, it has to be in sync with what we have in our hearts. So that is the main or the key message, where let's do all the activities for the sake of Lord, be it spiritual activities or even let it be the activities which we do in our day-to-day life, like say making presentations or building a factory or a building, or let it be sports, let it be studies for students. Unless we do those with the Lord in the heart, we will always be affected by the outcomes, with either the success goes to the head or the failures depress us. Rather, if the activities are done for the sake of the Lord, oh, I did this activity, oh Lord, may you be pleased with it. If we are able to cultivate that mindset, then definitely either the success or the failures will not affect our mindset. We will keep on doing our duties without worrying about the results, and that is what Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, where when he says that karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, we should just go on doing our duties without worrying about the outcomes. So that is the message which is replicated in this Bhakti Rahasyam number 81. So that's all from Thirukkolur Penpillai Rahasyam in terms of the 81 Bhakti Rahasyams. We have one more special episode, Thirukkolur Penpillai Rahasyam Samarpanam, where we will see. So Thirukkolur Penpillai narrated all the 81 statements. Now Swami Ramanuja heard it. Now he has to bless Thirukkolur Penpillai. He has to reveal that he is Swami Ramanuja himself. All this didn't happen when Thirukkolur Penpillai was narrating these statements. So what happened next will be our last special Samarpanam episode. So stay blessed, stay devoted, and stay tuned for our special Samarpanam episode, which will be our last episode, and remain devoted and blessed throughout your lives. We'll meet with some new topic, whatever the Lord wishes, whatever my Guru wants me to say. So, Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha.